Thank you so much, Judy, for hosting this.
Mhm.
And can you enable me to share my screen?
Oh, yeah. So what I'm going to do is make you a co-host.
Okay.
And then you should, when you get that, give your sharing a try.
Okay, it's looking good. Okay, can you all see my screen? The beautiful picture of the Columbia River there. Okay, you'll tell me if you can't, because I can't see you all now. Okay, so I'm Liz Erickson. I'm the one that sends the emails about the cleanups, and it's really great to have you all here. And we're here because we're able to offer more than we have in the last few years. I think we're all, I know we've heard you, we're really excited that we're able to offer in-person cleanups in a different way. I think that's what maybe I'm hearing in a lot of my own personal life is as we kind of move through this pandemic, it's kind of moving through to what's next, not necessarily going back to how it was. So you might be experiencing that in some of your other aspects of your life too. So this may mirror that as well. While we initially called this a town hall, I understand that can have a specific meaning around meeting and addressing and hearing from your politicians and elected officials. So I think maybe it's a misnomer. This is more of an information session. I'm not an elected official. I work for the City of Vancouver, obviously, in our solid waste department. And I've been in my role for just over 2.5 years. So really didn't get to see a lot of in-person cleanups. Have certainly heard a lot about it. And I looked at a lot of data to help inform how they're going to go in next year anyway. But I've had the opportunity and pleasure of meeting a lot of you and look forward to meeting more of you in person over the coming year. I'll go over the information. I may stop periodically to ask for questions. The way my system is set up right now, I can't see the chat, but maybe when I finish, I'll close my slides and then join the group to see the chat. But when there are, also I will pause for questions and feel free to unmic or unmute and just ask your question there. And because you all are here, you read the email. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do that among all the other things you do for your neighborhood and communities. So you know how to get in touch with me. This is not going to cover everything. There probably will be some additional questions. So I'm excited to share the opportunities and some details about what's maybe the same, what might be a little bit different. And if there are questions about your individual situation, your neighborhood association, I'd like to address that in another venue separate from this. This I'm hoping to be relevant to the whole group. And since it's recorded, be kind of useful for those that aren't here. So with that, I will move on to an overview. So our group, our solid waste services, we provide neighborhood cleanup opportunities, and this is in part of ongoing efforts to support neighborhood health and livability, and also the proper disposal of items. Getting things in the right place is a big part of our role. And while the cleanups are a very valued and important part of the fabric of the City of Vancouver and the neighborhood associations, it's also a really important way for disposing of items properly. So in 2022, next year, we are able to offer kind of 3 things that I'll be able to talk about. We will again offer the free bulky item curbside pickup that we've offered the last 2 years as kind of our replacement, if you will, for in-person cleanups that had to be canceled or not scheduled at all. So we'll be offering that curbside free pickup of 5 items with some added improvements, we think. I'll give you some information. And again, we've heard you. We know that cleanups are important. So we're really glad that working with Waste Connections will be able to offer in-person cleanups again on Saturdays, as always. And there'll be some similarities and some differences. Some of those I've already tipped out to you all. And then the third opportunity is the chipper. It will be available. It's as it was in the past, it's a city owned and operated machine. So we can schedule the crews to bring the chipper to your neighborhood. That's available on Saturdays, basically through March, from March through November. And first come, first serve, we can do one a Saturday. And all of these events, both the chipper and the cleanup event, of course, I have to say this, are dependent upon conditions and could be subject to change or cancellation. Of course, who knows where the pandemic is going to take us. So we're making these decisions and plans with the information we have now. So hopefully you're in the right room and you'll be able to walk away with hopefully some questions answered. And if you do have lingering questions, again, we'll try to address those either today or I'll follow up with you. Okay, so opportunity number one, the free curbside bulky item pickup. This is similar to what we've done over the last 2 years. This is an opportunity for single family residents that have active garbage service. That's what's funding this, this opportunity. As the last couple of years, 5 items on our acceptable list, which will not change. And I will make that available to you as we've done in the past, will be available to be set out curbside for free pickup. As in the past, residents will need to sign up ahead of time and schedule their date. What we think is an improvement for next year will be that residents can sign up for this pickup anytime through the year. So hopefully we'll have it ready to go early January, but this can be used anytime through December. So we like that we don't have to have predetermined dates or deadlines to sign up, if some of you remember that. It's basically an additional benefit. This is and we'll have the registration. I will, as we get the fine-tuned details about how to sign up, we expect it will be similar to the last few years to use. Ideally, the best way to do it is either with your phone, tablet, or your laptop or computer using the web tool Recycle Right, and to sign up for your bulky item pickup there. Now there's 5 items, however, there's 1 free pickup. So you can't do 2 items in March and 1 item in July and then a final item in October. So this is a 1 pickup of up to 5 items. And I'd also like to emphasize that this is in addition to the regular 1 free appliance pickup that is available to all residents every year. So essentially there's 2 free things. Just like with the free appliance pickup, you have to sign up in advance to get that date on the calendar with Waste Connections. So I'm going to pause there. Are there any questions about this so far, the bulky item pickup? I'm not hearing any questions. Judy, are there any in the chat that you see?
I don't see any, no.
Okay, well, terrific. I wanted to add one other piece for this. Oh, but I'm forgetting. Okay. So bulky item pickup. Oh, I wanted to mention that this opportunity, we at the City of Vancouver in Solid Waste, we will heavily promote this as we did last year. We'll put it in the Office of Neighborhood newsletter. We can do some postings on Nextdoor, citywide. So we will do a lot of promotion with that and certainly assist you with your outreach locally to your neighborhoods. Okay, so the second opportunity, Saturday cleanup events. If you're seeing the slides, I know some people are calling in, you'll see pictures of Waste Connections and residents, loading trucks, hauling things in their vehicles to the cleanup site. So this is hopefully what we'll be having next year. However, everyone will be masked and physical distanced. Don't come if you're sick. Many of the public health guidelines to prevent the spread of the disease that are applied and in place in lots of other aspects of our lives. So that, may adjust depending on how the current guidelines go at the, coming up to the time of your particular event. But we hope that otherwise there'll be Waste Connections will provide trucks and boxes to collect yard debris, scrap metal, and bulky items, bulky waste. And so those three streams will be available. And what's going to be different this year for most neighborhoods is you'll be combined with other nearby neighborhoods. And this was done for a few reasons and done very deliberately. With Waste Connections, current staffing and capacity with trucks and staff, they're able to offer about 30 cleanup events as opposed to the 52 events we had in 2019. In the past, we've been able to offer 2 cleanups on a particular Saturday. This year, I can offer 1 cleanup per Saturday. So I just have reduced number of spots for cleanups essentially. And I'm also building in, this is where I've worked closely with Waste Connections, building in off weekends throughout the summer, anticipating hazardous air, smoke concerns, heat wave, locusts, who knows what could happen. So knowing that that's been happening in the recent past, we would just want to prepare and be resilient for our schedule. So from March to November, I can offer about 30 cleanup events. So with over 50 neighborhoods traditionally having cleanups, I needed to group them together. I did this by consulting with city staff and looking at past data, so past tonnages, the amount of waste collected at an event. And some events would, one neighborhood by itself could have over 30 tons of bulky items collected. And some neighborhoods might have 4 tons or so. And while we don't have numbers of participants, this gives us a sense of the kind of the participation and the volume expected. So to be efficient with the resources, I grouped neighborhoods together in nearby neighborhoods. So nobody will need to drive across town, or hopefully not even drive, too far or cross major roads, but proximal neighborhoods. And then there are just a handful of neighborhoods that, again, traditionally have a large enough volume that it wouldn't make sense to add them with another neighborhood that would make it too big. So that's one difference is that most neighborhoods will be paired with other neighborhoods to plan and execute the cleanup. And the other difference is I'm assigning you a date. I've carefully looked again at when neighborhoods have traditionally preferred to have their cleanup events and really tried to honor that, knowing that for some neighborhoods, that's kind of the tradition. And again, moving forward, this is how we were able to offer this, the cleanups events for next year. So for some of you, I have already sent you a message with the neighborhoods that you'll be grouped with and your date. So that's a little bit different. And I think I've got a little bit more on the cleanup events, and then I'll take questions. So working with other neighborhoods, it's again, not something that maybe has been done in the past or certainly recently. So I'm here to help. My staff and I are here to help. So I will, after this and in the coming weeks, if I haven't already, I will reach out and send probably a group email to a particular group that will work together on a Saturday. Now, what I haven't said is this is an option. If, let's say I've got 3 or 4 neighborhoods grouped together for a Saturday cleanup in May, and 1 or 2 of those neighborhood leaders doesn't have the capacity, doesn't think their neighborhood is interested, there's no obligation to have a neighborhood cleanup. This is an option. But I'm hearing from some of you, I've actually heard from quite a few neighborhood leaders and cleanup organizers over the last few days. So I think there is kind of a resounding interest in this. But I need to state that this is an option. And not all neighborhood associations are active, and not all active neighborhood associations have cleanups. And I will put together kind of a checklist or a list of tips, if you will, to help you work together. Some neighborhood associations and individuals have a lot of experience and a lot of time and energy to put together a cleanup. And others may not have as much experience or capacity currently. So there'll be kind of a continuum. There could be a range of experiences working together. And I'm very happy to help groups of neighbors work together to do this. Just to point out that, again, like in the past, you'll have to find a location. So again, that might be different. Maybe we'll try to find one that, again, might need to be a little bit bigger, since you'll be working with other neighborhoods, and try to be central if possible. There's been a lot of construction, as you probably know, around the city with schools and other maybe redevelopment or remodeling. So maybe a traditional location isn't available, or isn't available in the same way. So something to consider. So you'll need to find a location, and together recruit volunteers to be there on the day of the event to help out. Neighborhoods, again, will do outreach and promotion. Many of the same tools will still be available. We're here to assist. And I want to address that at many cleanups, neighborhoods will do additional fundraising. So maybe have a can or a jar at the entry and ask for donations. And we know the scrap metal gets recycled, and the proceeds go back to the neighborhood association. So we will help offer some suggestions on how you might continue those fundraising aspects in a shared event to help find what seems fair and right. And often other cleanups will have kind of other collections or other aspects to it. Those are certainly permitted. So a garage sale, too good to toss, maybe a bicycle drive or other type of collection. And those are certainly permitted. And again, something to connect with your kind of your group that you're coordinating with. So I'll pause there about Saturday cleanup events. Are there any kind of clarifying questions or something I've missed?
Hi, Liz. It's Carl Ternasty.
Hi, Carl.
Just a quick question. Did you say we were going to select the location as a group? I know you've paired us with or put us together with a few other neighborhood associations. So we should get together as a group and then determine where that would be.
Yes. Yeah, I have not determined the location. I'm happy to help.
You're happy to help us. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Liz, Ken Visser.
Thanks, Ken.
Will neighborhoods need street permits, or the grouped neighborhoods need a street permit?
Good question. I believe that will depend on the identified location. If it's going to impact traffic, then we'll want to do that, and I can assist.
I have one other question. We've traditionally used Fisher Elementary School parking lot. Will schools allow us to do this again, or do you know?
Yes, they will. I have been in touch with, I believe, both Evergreen and Vancouver school districts. And yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Good question.
Liz, this is Gary Stewart at Burnt Ridge Creek. In the
Hi,
past,
Gary.
you've offered a dividend for the use of a too good to toss area. Is that going to continue?
That might have been before my time, so I am unsure about that. If Julie or Judy are here and can respond, feel free to. Otherwise, Gary, I'm happy to follow up with you.
Liz, I'm wondering if he's referring to, and Gary, let me know, the Resource Conservation Challenge, where neighborhoods pick activities to do related to their cleanup, and then they get a mini grant.
We were getting $100
Yeah.
for just trying to recycle as much as possible and keep it from going into the trucks. At the end of the
Yes.
day, we pitched it in the trucks if it didn't go anywhere. But otherwise, I'm not sure that we'd have an interest in doing that.
Gary, thank you so much for bringing that up. Yes, the Resource Conservation Challenge is the name of the mini grant for $100. And yes, these cleanup events combined with like a too good to toss or other kind of waste diversion activity would definitely qualify the neighborhood for that grant, which will be available again next year. Does that help? Thank you, Judy.
And
Yes,
Liz,
thank you.
Liz, this is Judy.
Uh-huh.
Just a clarifying question. Say there's 3 neighborhood associations that are working together on one cleanup. If they all participate, can they all get credit for the 3 activities to be eligible for the Resource Conservation Challenge?
That's another good question. Yes. Yes, all neighborhoods that participate in these activities will separately be eligible to receive the grant. It's a great question. Any additional questions?
Hello, Liz.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Liz, this is Daryl from the Northwood neighborhood.
Great.
I just want to clarify, I thought I heard you say that there would be boxes supplied for metal, yard debris, and trash. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Not trucks?
Usually, I think I said boxes and trucks. So yes, scrap metal will
Yep.
be a box and there'll be a truck for yard. Generally, there's a truck for yard debris. I think sometimes they'll bring a box as well, but they'll have the rear loader compactor truck for the bulky items.
Yeah, those work way better than trying to throw it in boxes. Okay,
Yes.
That was, most of the questions I had were already answered, so thank you.
Yep, thank you. Great question. And when we're talking about throwing items around, that reminds me that this year, another thing that will be different is we will most likely, I'm still in discussion with city departments for have a waiver, like a liability waiver for volunteers to sign. Basically says you're not going to be held responsible for for damage and things going wrong, but also for if there's a virus, a COVID spread, or I'm losing my words right now, but so we're still working on that, but it's looking like that's going to be a new requirement, a new ask for on-site volunteers the day of the cleanup event to either sign that morning and or fill out online ahead of time a waiver. But again, we're still working on that, but I think it's to be expected.
On that topic, Ken Visser or Nada again. The VNA gives us, this insurance policy for that.
Yeah.
So will this be a part of this as well, that we have to, I don't know, get one written up for this specific day for the lab, so that they don't sue the ability to, I guess, sue the neighborhood association is taken off the table. I guess that's
Right.
what that insurance is for.
Yeah, that's a good question, Ken. And that's part of the waiver and liability that I'm still researching. But from the last I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, Judy, the VNA will continue to provide the opportunity for neighborhood associations to be covered by their blanket policy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, so the neighborhoods in working together, this is quite a bit different than what our NADA is going to be used to, believe me. So
Yeah.
we're working with other neighborhoods to try to, herd it all together. So my question is most specifically, like, we've had to get a street permit, we've had to get the insurance company to say, yes, we've got this covered. And so those 2 requirements will still be in place regardless of whether it's a group event or not. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Liz, this is
Yes,
Judy again.
please. Yeah.
So I checked in with the Vancouver Neighborhood Alliance regarding their plans for insurance policy for next year. And they are still talking about what they're going to do.
Okay.
Whether they're going to ask the neighborhood associations to contribute or not. I think they're planning to go ahead with the insurance policy. I'll start out this comment by saying I'm not a lawyer and I can't give you legal advice. But based on the past experiences we've had where neighborhood associations you could use or used insurance, I think it'd be a great idea if all the neighborhood associations went ahead, if you go forward with the insurance, go ahead and get a certificate of insurance for this event, just for your own protection and just for your records, hopefully not needed. But that's kind of, I think that's where we've seen issues in the past are with the cleanup days. And it kind of makes sense from the standpoint of volunteers are actively, doing physical things to, in the event and that sort of thing. So again, I'll end with the caveat, I'm not a lawyer and don't look to me for legal advice, but it might not hurt to have a certificate for this event.
This is Jean from Cascade Highlands. Years ago, we got a training saying that, yes, we could get sued at cleanups. And so what I did ever since then is the neighbors dropping off things have to sign a coupon that comes through their newsletter. And it says they won't sue us. And I was told this is not really a legal document, but any judge looking at it would take it seriously.
Thank you, Jean. That's a good suggestion. Thank you for these questions. I'm taking notes, and as we know more, I will continue to share that information with the group, and we will be building, I anticipate, a website that will have a lot of this information on it as well. Okay, I'm going to move on to the third opportunity, which is the chipper, the beloved chipper, which can handle a lot of different types of woody material. It doesn't capture all kinds of yard debris, but it is available, and that material then gets recycled locally. And again, it's first come, first serve. You can send me your first and second preferred dates either by email, phone call. In the email that I sent, there was a link to the chipper request form as well. It's an online form. So that's available. Again, you would, as a neighborhood, you could combine with other neighborhoods if you wanted to. You could request to have this the same day as your chipper, or as your cleanup, I'm sorry, if you would like. So it can be concurrent. It could also be a different Saturday. And similar gathering guidelines would follow and be applied to this as well. You need to secure a location and secure some volunteers to be there. And that's the chipper. Any questions on the chipper?
So this is any time of the year? I mean, it can be on the Saturday, but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be, no. And in my personal opinion, it seems like a nice opportunity to offer a different time of year from your cleanup, since the cleanup will have a yard debris opportunity there. Okay. And that's where we wrap up. I'm going to just flash this last screen very quickly so you can verify that it is me. Make sure that's the email you've got for me, my phone number. It's on all of my emails that I'll send to you. But now I want to come back and see some faces and answer any additional questions that are coming up for you. Again, if it's specific to your neighborhood and kind of questions about how that organization piece might work, follow up with me, and I will be following up with each of you. Okay, and I think I saw Laura's hand raised. Go ahead, Laura.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I apologize. I had some tech difficulties earlier, so I missed the first part of it. I'm not going to ask for you to follow up with me just because I know another one of our groups,
Yeah.
members on our group is going to show up for the next meeting. So unless there's anything specific, I think I'll just let it go.
Okay. It's not too much different, I believe, than what was in the emails. I think Ken from Arnada asked a great question. If you need a street permit, and that would just depend on the location, if it's going to be, flowing out into the streets, as some of them do. And yeah, and I'm really glad you brought up the Resource Conservation Challenge. I will make sure that the form and the process reflects this, the opportunities for 2022.
So, Liz, you said you were going to promote it. When, like, I want to explain at our next meeting in January a little bit about this. Will you have those materials up by the first or second week in January? For well, I mean, maybe right after the next town hall, which is what, or information session, which is the 5th and 6th or something.
Yeah, Thursday the 6th, I believe.
Well, that certainly would be a good date to shoot for if you could get that all together, because
Yeah.
I can tell that some of our neighbors are going to be going, what?
Yeah. Yeah, we want to support you with any kind of big emotions or responses you might be getting from your residents as well. If you get big responses, people that are very concerned or upset with how things are, feel free to send them my way. I might have kind of a small voice, but I can be a heavy, or not a heavy, but I'm happy to talk to people if they're concerned. I've got very clear reasons on why we're doing what we're doing, and I'll be happy to talk to people that are just concerned, or if they're asking you questions that you don't have the answers to. And as soon as we have more information and information available on our website, I will certainly send it to you. I would hope for January. It'll just depend on, we've got a few more answers to questions that I need to iron out. And it'll probably be a living website as we add more information.
I just like to, this is Jean Kent from Cascade Highlands. I just like to thank you for the effort and time you're putting in to this, because we do a lot in our neighborhood, but I think the cleanup is the most highly valued. And it's kind of valued by a different segment of the association that we don't contact with other events and things that we do. And so I really appreciate the effort and that you're putting into it, and the organization. That makes it a lot easier. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jean. I appreciate hearing that. And I also find it's interesting that you've noticed that it kind of engages a different part of your community. And that reminds me of something else I wanted to be very deliberate in mentioning. The cleanup events are open to any resident in the neighborhood, whether they're a renter or a homeowner, or whether they live in a home or a mobile home or an apartment. So we'll also be providing tips, which very much depends on your neighborhood, how much multifamily housing you have. But we really want to be able to get the message out to those living in multifamily properties that the cleanup event is something that they're welcome to attend. So we'll provide some tips on that, because sometimes it isn't as straightforward as door to door. Other questions or things I might have missed?
Thought of one last thing, Liz, and that is that in our past experience, we've had to deal with people in construction who had a lot of demo material that they wanted to get rid of. We've had box fans of carpet scraps and you name it. So you probably need to plan on dealing with that as an issue this year, especially with all the construction that's going on. Require a card and let everybody know it's not for that purpose. It's for neighbors and for the incidental waste that we all accumulate. As much as we like to help our friends and their companies, that it's just not workable.
Thank you for the reminder, Gary. We'll make sure to be very explicit about that.
Yeah, and adding to Gary, and this is more of a joke, but the segment of our community are the ones who throw their couches in the backyard and hold on to them for 10 months until the next cleanup event, and then they show up, you know? Let's
Yes.
get those folks.
And I would also be remiss in stating that with the free bulky item pickup, that while this would be a one-time benefit for 2022 for people to have 5 items picked up, customers can always, single-family residents can always have bulky item pickup from their curb for a fee. No R, for a fee from Waste Connections. Again, by scheduling that with them. There's a schedule of rates on our website and Waste Connections websites as well. So we're also trying to encourage, not the hoarding up of items or the illegal dumping of items, but to, regularly manage the unwanted material around our house. But we're really hoping that these two opportunities in particular will be helpful for people to get rid of things that they're not wanting anymore. Okay. Well, you all know how to reach me. I really appreciate the time that you've taken today. And if any questions come up either from you or again, if you're hearing them from your communities, we're here to help, and you'll be hearing more from me.
Okay, thanks. That sounds like a concluding statement to me.
Yeah, I
Thank
was
you
just
very
gonna
much.
do a big Happy New Year, happy holidays to everyone.
All right,
Take
Merry
care.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thanks for all your work.
Bye.
Thanks, Liz.
Bye.